Howdy. I want to give a preview of the Vikings Falcons game because that is what I can talk about the most. I'm not going to say I know the most about it because I don't really know a lot up in here, but I can at least ramble on for a while about this game. And I think I could give good context and temper Vikings fans' expectations just a little bit, not too much, right? Like I said, Vikings fan, I'm very excited. But I think there's a lot of things on my mind that I kind of want to get out there, at least to have receipts later on to say, hey, should have maybe looked at this a little bit earlier. What will it serve? What purpose will it achieve? Nothing. I will just be able to brag to people around me that, like, hey, and if not, if I'm wrong, thank goodness. Right? And I'll also talk about good things and things we can be very, very excited for because there is a lot. Right? I'm going to really talk about the bad things I saw from the Bears game because there's a lot of bad. I know we like to focus on the one quarter of good, and it was a great quarter, but there was a lot of bad that I'm frankly very concerned about. Then I want to talk about the good things to really, really bring our hopium up. Man, get us really excited. There's a lot that I can see like going great for us. And then I want to give kind of a preview for the Falcons game and say like what can go wrong, what can go right, what I expect to happen, and what I hope to see from the team. Right, just as kind of a summary for just the game. Right, see what we can build off of, what we will get worse, and just kind of talk to you, so have some background noise. I don't know, but so yeah, let's recap the Bears game. Right, so yeah, last Sunday, roller coaster of emotions. Right, for both fan bases. Right, the Vikings, they got outplayed for 3 quarters, and then 1 quarter they like flipped the switch. They went sicko mode. They went crazy. It was ridiculous, right? JJ McCarthy, he proved the haters right, and then he was like, "Nah, just kidding. You thought he's that guy, right?" No, yeah. And honestly, that first 3 quarters, I don't even think he played that bad, right? Like, yeah, okay, obviously, but he didn't have an opportunity to play bad because like rushing, they were getting nothing. Whenever he'd throw, I didn't see wide receivers open. Um, I I saw Luke Braun talk about how it seemed like there was a lot that he was trying to move too fast or whatever. Maybe he knows more about that than I do. But what I saw was, yeah, receivers weren't getting open. When they did get open, they would drop the ball, and that was when he had a chance to throw. It felt like he was never even able to really throw it. My perspective was, I think Kevin O'Connell came up there to try to, I know, contrary to what everyone's saying, but what I saw was I thought he was trying to baby him too much. He was trying to force JJ McCarthy to throw like lots of short screen passes to quote unquote easy completions, which I don't think that was the Vikings' method of play. I don't think that was their style, and I think they suffered heavily for it. I think later on, when Kevin O'Connell really opened up the playbook and let McCarthy play to his strengths, let the team play to their strengths, they really got going. They showed what they're capable of. So yeah, look, he did play bad, right? He tried to force his way through holes that he probably would have gone through in college, right? Those sacks, I think if it was in college, he would have gone right through them and gone on for like 5, 10 yards. In the NFL, players are faster, the bigger. He has to learn that. I think he did, and yeah, he has to. But none of his throws to me seemed inaccurate. It's just he didn't get a chance to throw very much. And then yeah, fourth quarter, he went sicko mode. He went crazy. So as a Vikings fan, I'm feeling great. If I'm a Bears fan, a little worried. But we're not Bears fans here, thank goodness, right? But there was bad, right? The first 3 quarters were atrocious, right? Um, like the Bears were playing without some of their best players. They were playing without Jalen Johnson. They were playing without that one really good linebacker, Edwards, I think. They were playing without their two best defensive players, and you know they still struggled for 3 full quarters. That is worrisome, right? And on the defensive side, yeah, they I don't really care about that scripted first drive. Who cares? They scored a touchdown, whatever. But a problem from last season came up in this game too. Their 2 minute defense is terrible. They get torn to shreds every single time. Like Caleb Williams looked like Tom Brady for that like last desperation, still garbage time drive, but it was still he looked great. And on top of that, I felt the Vikings defense got bailed out a lot. Right? I think if they were playing a quarterback with real accuracy, they would have gotten smoked. There were so many times where I would be like, "Oh, there's a wide receiver open," and Caleb Williams either not see him or just miss the throw because he sucks. That worries me. Michael Penix is more accurate, and then Joe Burrow 2 weeks from now, that guy will not be missing those balls. I'll tell you that. And yeah, the interior pressure was good, but you know they were letting him get out. Lamar Jackson's coming. That's not going to fly there. Now, obviously, there's a lot of time to prepare for these great quarterbacks, but that's the Vikings schedule. They're going to win. If they're going to be the best, they have to be able to beat them. I'm sorry. I'm getting horses tied up because my computer ran out of storage, so I had to start recording again. But yeah, I talked about the pressure, and it is worrisome, right? I'm not saying that they won't get it together, but injuries are starting to rack up. We already had Blake Cashman, who's the quarterback of the defense. He's out, and he will probably be out. And Jeff Okuda, who, he's Jeff Okuda. You wouldn't expect him to be an important name losing, but now he's out. Or Dwight McGlothern is QB, is the cornerback 3 now. I brought this up my preview last week, right? Now we're going to have to elevate Fabian Moreau most likely from the practice squad. To me, it is negligent to not trade for another corner and improve there. I'm worried. Darrisaw's still not back. Justin Skule looked bad, right? I'm worried about this team, right? I think if they got lucky. They played the Bears week 1. They went up against a more well-coached team. Right now, if we were to go up against the Packers, I think it would be bad for the Vikings. Right? Like, I think a league average quarterback that doesn't miss the throws that Caleb Williams was missing would have torched our defense, and I think it would have been a very different game. This team is troublesome. If McCarthy, there were all these stats going around about, McCarthy was the first quarterback since Steve Young to lead 2 touchdowns in a comeback victory. Or since Steve Young to do something. But I saw another stat that concerned me as well. It's not really a stat, but it's something like, don't get your hopes up too high yet. Right? Sam Darnold had a very similar game to McCarthy his rookie season. His very first week 1 game, his start, it was very similar to McCarthy. So, Sam Darnold had a retribution. We don't want retribution quarterbacks. We want McCarthy to step up. Right? There's a lot. And our edge pressure, they didn't get him, right? And they had an exploitable weakness there, right? The Bears' tackles were not very good, and they couldn't get. Hi, honey. What? Right, like we kept hearing Jonathan Grenard is going to take a step up. That. Jonathan Grenard. Van Ginkel played well, but he got a concussion. He's out. Right? Van Ginkel's injured, and you can only expect these injuries to rack up. I'm growing worried. Dallas Turner didn't have the game we expected him to. So, the offense got bailed out by the defense, who I don't think they played particularly well. I know they did shut down, but they shut down the Bears. Though, okay. Enough with the doom and gloom. Let's talk about the good. Right? There are a lot of good. McCarthy, that fourth quarter, he was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week, which, whether he deserved that or not, he was still good enough to be considered for it, right? And he won it, so, If he continues to play like that, I'd be really excited. And I think he can. I think he should. I think once O'Connell really trusted him with the playbook, he really stepped up and he played well. He got loose. The offensive line really took a step. Justin Skule's there. Ryan Kelly is injured, but he's going to play, so hopefully it's not like a permanent thing. No, because, that offensive line depth is also concerning. But anyways, right, if McCarthy plays like he did in that fourth quarter, like consistently, like if he can just keep that going, all bets are off. I don't care how bad the defense is. This team is Super Bowl contending. With that defensive line, they can do that. That option is still on the table. And not only that, but he's the youngest starting quarterback in the league. He is younger than Cam Ward. So this could be McCarthy at his very worst. He has room to improve. Can you imagine? Right? The quarterback we just saw play in the fourth quarter, improving and improving and improving on a rookie contract. This could be what Vikings fans have dreamed of. This could be something special. So, you know, temper expectations. I don't expect him to play as good as he did in that fourth quarter, but if he can just be near that, like if he plays that level, like near that consistently, the consistency is key. The Vikings will be special, and it could be my lack of ball knowledge showing, but when I saw the Bears defense, there were some plays where it reminded me of the Flores defense. And if he's able to decipher that, I mean, I'm pretty excited for it. I'm pretty excited. Jordan Mason, he looked really good. Jefferson, I expect to have a bounce back game. Adam Thielen, I actually think Adam Thielen's been having some issues learning the playbook. Now, it is anecdotal, but thinking back, I was watching his interviews with just like a week into the team, just like 3-4 days, like a week ago. And people asked him, like, oh, is it easy to pick up the playbook? And the first thing he said is it's really hard. One, that gives me confidence that Kevin O'Connell's changing up the offensive playbook. He's not reusing the same things I'll get figured out. I think that was a terrible thing with the Mike Zimmer's defenses. Once they got figured out, he was done. But I think Thielen is having a little bit of troubles figuring out the playbook, which is fine, right? Take the season, whatever. If you're going to be a wide receiver 3, whatever. And Jalen Naylor looked really good too. People don't talk about it. Like he was open like every play. And then Addison is coming back. Imagine McCarthy with a fully healthy offensive line with Darisaw at left tackle, turning the biggest weakness of last game into the biggest strength. Oh, that could be lethal, right? If McCarthy does not slow down, if new father McCarthy decides I'm gonna play well for my son, I'm gonna make him proud, or daughter, I actually don't know. Bad Vikings fan. I need to check. I need to make sure. Actually, I'll check right now. McCarthy's kid. Son, yeah. Rome McCarthy. Rome Micah McCarthy, yeah. All right. Like, if he plays... Imagine that, right? I think this team can really be special. Imagine last year's team, but better. And with a McCarthy fourth quarter level quarterback. And a part of me believes that Brian Flores was kind of holding back his defense a little bit. What I saw last week was not the same defense I saw last year. They did blitz heavy, especially in the second half. But I didn't really see the disguises that Brian Flores is known for. I think he thought to himself, you know what? Caleb Williams, he's not going to be able to figure out my defense. I'm not going to waste and put stuff on film for Caleb Williams. I think he's saving his best for week 3, honestly. So I don't even really expect... Michael Penix, I think, is good, but this is his 5th start. He's really new, too. So I think, there's still more Brian Flores has to show. But I am concerned. It's kind of a balancing act, right? I know I'm supposed to be talking about like the good things. I'm concerned, but I'm gonna temper it. I still think they're gonna add a corner at some point because man, it's bad. We'll see, but let's talk about the interior pass rush. That thing was crazy. Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen were tearing shit up. They were going crazy. And special teams, Miles Price. Look, I'm a doubter of Miles Price. I think he's a great guy. I love that he's hardworking. Everything I hear personality-wise, I think he's great. But he bobbled one kick in preseason, and to me, now I'm going to be nervous every time. But he has proven me wrong. He's making me look like a dunce, and I love him for it, right? Every time he gets the ball, one, secure grab, and then he goes, right? He's not... Well, with explosiveness, I expect him to at least at one point break through this season. But he gets yards. He does have an impact. and he had one of like those super cold lines where he's like, "I fear nothing, coach." After he got hit really hard on his first return, he's like, "I fear nothing." That's dog mentality right there. Right? Will the Thrill title record for the longest field goal in Soldier Field history? That's 100-year history right there. That is like you hear stories about the ancient NFL, the Dayton Triangles, and they're playing in Soldier Field. So that's a story thing against the wind, right? Ben Johnson was like shook by it in his post game conference. It was kind of funny, um, right? And yet that's why Ryan Wright is still punter. By the way, there were lots of reports coming out of camp that he was playing like that. Will Riker was playing poorly. I think the reason behind it was because of the punting battle. Since the punters are the holders, right? I think Chapman couldn't hold the ball properly, and when we saw that in the game, that was it. That was it. Even if Ryan Wright is not the best punter, like he shanked a kick too. He knew it, but they sacrificed the punts for holding ability and making sure Will Riker stayed at his level, which is more important to me. We win the return battle, we win the holding battle, we shank a punt or two, whatever, I'll take it. Eric Wilson, Superman. Like the reason I'm not talking about losing Blake Cashman that much is because Eric Wilson is Eric Wilson, right? He played well. He played super well. He picked up the green dot when I saw Cashman out. I was like, "That's our green dot." That I got worried, right? He's like, runs the defense like nothing happened, just easy. And then he blocked a punt. So there's a lot of confidence in him right now. I have a lot of confidence in him. That's why they got him. Right, Blake Cashman, I think the Vikings had good foresight. He's never had like a full season. So like, all right, let's get a serviceable guy to back him up. And they did. Eric Wilson's good. I'm A-okay with it. A part of me wishes Ivan Pace was able to be next man up on it, but you know what? He's good. And, as long as he does his job, we're okay. Now, so if the Vikings can pick up where they left off with a good defense by Brian Flores, I hope it's better than last week, because last week we're not playing Caleb Williams every week. But if the defense takes a step up, especially those edge rushers, Dallas Turner, have a good game here. And McCarthy plays like fourth quarter McCarthy, they're going to be good headed into the Falcons game. Speaking of the Falcons game, yeah, let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Falcons specifically, right? It's kind of a gauntlet for McCarthy. He's going to be, right? He started off going up against Caleb Williams, the first quarterback drafted before him. Now he's going up against the quarterback drafted right before him that, I don't know what the emotions of the Vikings were when they saw that a quarterback was drafted the one spot ahead of them by the Falcons, someone they probably never expected. But then they saw it was Michael Penix, so it was probably just like, they had a moment where there's like, what just happened? But whatever. I think the Vikings were always going to draft McCarthy. But Michael Penix, he is the other quarterback drafted in the top 12 last year that did not start most games, that did not have substantial amount of play time, right? He is making his fifth start, which, looking at Falcons, browsing their forums, listening to their podcasts, they're very confident in Michael Penix already. After four starts, they think he's good. They think he's solid. They think he's top 15, which, I always hate those like top whatever because it's always skewed, right? People hear top 10 and all that. Top 10 is basically just top third, right? There's 32 teams. It's not that many. Top 15, they're saying he's like very slightly above average. Like, okay. They think he's good though, right? I would personally say he's in the 12-11 range. He's played well from what I've seen. I haven't seen many games. I've only seen 2 Falcons games that he started in, and he played well. Yeah, I think, right, he's not a mobile quarterback though, so I really hope our edge rushers and our interior rushers, they're great. I expect them to do well already just because of what they did to Joe Thuney. That was crazy. But Grenard and Turner have to really step up. I want to see them get the sacks we were promised, basically. Well, we weren't promised, but they were hyped up, and I want to see them feast. So, yeah, they're led by Michael Penix though. He's not mobile, but you know what? He is accurate. He is collected. He seems like a smart individual. He reads defense as well, for a rookie at least. He's a solid guy. He will get the job done. Um, they have also supported Michael Penix with, honestly, I part of me had hoped that their wide receivers would have shown up injured to crap to high heavens. I saw the injury report on Wednesday. I was like, oh, they could be out. No, all of the wide receivers are back. And so they've surrounded Michael Penix with talent, namely Bijan. Right, he's better than DeAndre Swift. So we gotta our run defense will absolutely be tested on Sunday. Bijan can he's a difference maker. The game will revolve around him. At least that's what I'm expecting them to try. And their offensive line is good. They've played all right, but they got to practice squad or starting. Right? I'm not optimistic in that Falcons specifically interior offensive line. They're I don't think they're as good as the Bears offensive line, so I really want to see I cannot emphasize this enough. I want to see our defensive line do damage because they're worse than the Bears offensive line. Like the Falcons offensive line is worse than the Bears, but they're still good. Right? This will be a good litmus test, and I think this goes for the whole team. Because the Falcons, I looked them top down. Their only really notable superstar is Bijan. After that, they have a whole bunch of really solid players, but no superstars. They don't have any game breakers, again, besides Bijan. He's a game breaker. They don't have any just, like, guy anywhere other than running back. So I think our defensive line, we're gonna see all our position groups, how they play, if they're good. We're gonna see if they're good or not. There we go. Stop studying. We're gonna see what position groups are good and which ones aren't, right? Our wide receivers, they're going up against good corners. Obviously, our wide receivers are good. I expect them to be open all game long, right? But they weren't against the Bears, and that was a bad Bears cornerback room. So we gotta keep an eye on that, right? Their defensive line, they're all solid. They're good, not great. Our offensive line should win. Justin Skule excluded. I like him as a person. I want Darisaw back. I miss Darisaw, man. Whatever, right? The defensive line is good. So if our offensive line has to beat them, because what are they going to do against Micah Parsons if they can't even beat the Falcons, right? You got to take all of these games in the context of we're going to be going up against better competition. So if we cannot beat the Falcons version of this, we are cooked, right? All across the board. If you want to have a Super Bowl team, you have to be good practically everywhere. And that means no weaknesses, no exploitable ones. It's like, if we exploit this, we win. We have to beat the Falcons in every way. Because if not, that means we have a weakness that can be exploited. I'm not saying the team can't be successful, but if we want, this is a Super Bowl window, right? If we want to keep that window, make sure it's there, we have to dominate. Now, obviously, teams get better throughout the season, so if they don't, it's not the end of the world, but it's a good litmus test. It's a very good litmus test, especially for our corners. I think Michael Penix, he's a good quarterback, good warm-up quarterback. We really are going up the tiers. We're going garbage in Caleb Williams because I think he's garbage. We're going to solid, above-average quarterback. Then the week after that, they're going up against Joe Burrow, right? They have to win this week because if they don't, I'm talking about the corners specifically, because if they don't win, they can't stop Michael Penix. I know Joe Burrow had a horrific game against the Cleveland Browns, but the Bengals always start slow. The first 2 weeks are bad, but that does not include the third week. They won their first game too. So I'd be concerned. I think we want to see the defense play well. I want the Vikings to do well in every facet of the game. I do not care about the injuries because they have to overcome that. That happens to every NFL team. Right? There's a lot of questions that will be answered. I see the Falcons as a litmus test. I don't think it will be an easy game, and I think they have a very real chance of victory. If the Vikings play like they did against Chicago, they're going to lose because one great quarter is not going to be enough, right? If we play like we did against the Bears, it will not be a two-score deficit. It will be much greater. They gave the Buccaneers a run for their money last week, and the Buccaneers, I think, are a good team. To me, the bar for a good team is consistent playoff success, right? Last year, I thought the Vikings were fraudulent, and in my eyes, I was proven right because they could not win a playoff game. To be a good team, you have to win playoff games, and the Buccaneers have done that. They're there consistently, and I think the Falcons are in a similar position to us. They're going to be hungry, right? Last year they were 6-3, and they had playoff aspirations. This year they do too. They want to be a good team. They want to be a contender. They're trying to prove it by beating the 14-win Vikings, right? They took the Buccaneers to the. I don't know. They took the Buccaneers to the wire. If Younghoe Koo could hit a field goal, they would have gone to overtime. So this is a good team. I know that was a divisional game, but this is a good team. The Packers just got done eviscerating the Commanders. It wasn't a close game. The Vikings need to keep up. They have to win this one. I don't want it to be like the Bears. The Bears was, growing pains rookie. And I expect there to be growing pains in this one too. But if they're going to be a good team this year, they have to continuously improve. And Kevin O'Connell has said himself, you have to continuously get better. So let's see it. I want a more complete game. All right. If they don't win, I at least want them to be more consistent. Right? Just my things are, don't have a fourth quarter surge to barely win, because I'm terrified of that. That's not sustainable. That's the 2022 Vikings or 2021 Vikings. And I don't want that. All right. I want to see this team succeed. Don't get blown out. I want them to win. And, it's been a while since the Vikings have won convincingly. Last year they started off winning convincingly, and then they would let teams come back. Let's see. I want to see this team put together a complete game so that come Tuesday when all the pundits are talking, they won't just be talking about the Packers being Super Bowl favorites. I hate hearing that. I hate that so much. I want the Vikings to bite back. Show they're good. Because we got a gauntlet coming up, right? After the Falcons, who are a good team, right? The Falcons are a winnable game. It's a winnable game. To most teams, that's not the case. But for the Vikings, you have to take it because, they have the Browns after that, but then they have the Rodgers Steelers, which looked really good. They have the Bengals. They have the Ravens. They have the Commanders, who I guess aren't as scary now. But they got a scary gauntlet coming up, right? We need wins early if we're going to have any hope of, playoff aspirations. And it was a close game on Monday. I don't think it should have. We'll see. I'm excited. If McCarthy plays consistently for a full game, like we know we can, I'm gonna be a very happy camper. But just temper expectations right now. We don't know, right? Throughout the entire first half, every time I checked the internet, people were saying bust, bust, bust. There are narratives against McCarthy. People want him to fail. They will jump at any opportunity to bring him down. So, we'll see. I expect the Vikings to win, and I want them to win by a lot. If it's a close game, have a complete game. That's all I ask, which I know is a lot to ask for, and I'm a nobody here. But anyways, thank you for watching, listening. I wrote about this if you want just kind of get clear thoughts rather than just my ramblings on my Substack, which I will link in the bottom. And thank you. Have a good one.